In 1851, a monumental gathering took place at Fort Laramie. The Cheyennes, Arapahos, Sioux, Crows, and other tribes met with representatives of the United States. They agreed to allow Americans to build roads and establish military posts across their territories. Both parties swore to maintain good faith and friendship, hoping to establish lasting peace. But within a decade, the landscape transformed drastically. Wagon trains cut through the Indian country along the Platte River, followed by a chain of forts, then stagecoaches, and finally the telegraph wires. The Treaty of 1851 was clear: the Plains Indians did not relinquish their rights to their lands or their hunting, fishing, and travel privileges. However, the Pike's Peak Gold Rush of 1858 brought thousands of miners who built villages and eventually Denver City. Chief Little Raven of the Arapaho observed these changes with amusement, but reminded the miners that the land belonged to the Indians. He hoped they would leave after finding their gold. They did not. Instead, more settlers arrived, and the once buffalo-rich Platte Valley became dotted with ranches and land claims. By 1861, the Great Council in Washington created the Territory of Colorado, sending a governor and beginning the push for land cessions from the Indians. The Cheyennes and Arapahos maintained peace despite the encroachments. When invited to Fort Wise in 1861 to discuss a new treaty, several chiefs responded. They were promised land rights and freedom of movement to hunt buffalo, but were instead restricted to a triangular section of territory. The reservation had little game and was unsuitable for agriculture without irrigation. During the Civil War, Cheyenne and Arapaho hunters struggled to avoid soldiers scouting for Confederate forces. They learned of the dire fate of the Santee Sioux and feared for their own people. By 1864, soldiers were venturing into remote hunting grounds. The presence of soldiers in remote hunting grounds by 1864 indicated a clear violation of the Fort Laramie Treaty. As soldiers began enforcing the movement of tribes onto reservations and protecting settlers encroaching on tribal lands, skirmishes and violence became more frequent. This period marked the lead-up to significant tragic events, such as the Sand Creek Massacre in November 1864, where a peaceful village of Cheyenne and Arapaho was attacked by a Colorado militia led by Colonel John Chivington. This massacre resulted in the deaths of many Native American men, women, and children, and further strained relations between the tribes and the U.S. government.
The incursions and subsequent conflicts demonstrated a shift in U.S. policy from one of negotiated coexistence to one of forced relocation and military enforcement. This shift had long-lasting consequences for Native American tribes across the Great Plains and beyond.
In 1863, Chiefs Black Kettle and Lean Bear visited President Lincoln in Washington, receiving medals and a flag symbolizing peace. Yet in May 1864, soldiers attacked Cheyenne camps along the South Platte River, forcing the tribes to regroup for protection. As tensions rose, the Cheyenne and Arapaho chiefs sought peace. In September 1864, at a council at Fort Weld near Denver, they expressed their desire for peace. Governor John Evans and Colonel John Chivington, however, were more interested in punishment and military action than reconciliation. Despite assurances of peace from Major Wencoop, the chiefs moved their people to Sand Creek, far from Fort Lyon, to avoid conflict. They were unaware of Chivington's ominous orders to kill all the Indians you come across. In 1865, under immense pressure, the Cheyennes and Arapahos signed a new treaty, relinquishing claims to their ancestral lands. They were forced to move south of the Arkansas River, sharing land with the Kiowas. The promise of perpetual peace was a hollow one, as their new territory was equally unsuited to their way of life. The treaties made and broken during this turbulent period left a lasting impact on the Plains tribes. Their resilience in the face of betrayal and displacement is a testament to their enduring spirit. The story of the Cheyennes and Arapahos serves as a poignant reminder of the costs of progress and the importance of honoring commitments. Thank you for joining us in this journey through history. Please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us with the YouTube algorithm and brings more stories from our past to light.